Hello everyone, my name is Jorge Diaz, President and Founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing and an Infusionsoft Certified Consultant. Today I'm bringing you another episode of How Do You Describe Infusionsoft Success? And success comes in many flavors. We've had a lot of different guests. This week my guest is Monica Burden. She's out of snowy Boston as opposed to sunny Miami today. How are you, Monica?
Great, thanks, George. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so Monica and I haven't known each other very long. We met at InfusionCon back in early March, and she was there at the API, at the, oh gosh, when you
The
get
API guys.
the API guys, man, you pass 50 and you forget everything. But um, and we were talking. Now, I've known of the API guys because I have known Kim Snyder. And we had spoken a couple times, we'd interacted, and as a matter of fact, I assumed when I saw her at PartnerCon that she was with API guys, but she says, oh, no, I sold it to this great lady. And then I got to meet her at Icon in March, and I thought it was a real good idea to bring her on because we're consultants. We've interviewed mainly people who are, Bryce Christensen from Plus This, and Jay Rice a couple weeks ago. He's with Thinking Chat, so they're product offering type folks. But every once in a while, you need an API guy or lady, and that's what Monica and her team does. And when you need it for sure. And one of the things we're going to talk about is when you don't need it, because a lot of people jump in and try to do some API stuff, and it's kind of an overkill. But that's kind of part of what our discussion is. So Monica, thank you for joining me. And why don't you tell us a little bit about API guys, what you guys do, and when is it that people should be calling you?
Good question. Yeah, the API guys, we do custom development for Infusionsoft. So basically anything that Infusionsoft doesn't do out of the box that you would like it to do, odds are we can make it do that. A lot of the main part of our business is often integrations with some other software that does not have an integration already with Infusionsoft. So we recently just did an integration with PhotoShelter, for instance, which doesn't have any integration with Infusionsoft. Somebody wanted to be able to create galleries and collections directly from Infusionsoft so that when somebody books a photo shoot with them, they could automatically create the gallery in PhotoShelter and have that all ready for them to just upload the photos.
Right. And this is where, when we were preparing for this, I wanted to make sure, I want to point out certain things, because Monica and I'm a programmer. Monica's got actually her history is in communications, which is interesting. But we get programming. So I appreciate what she just said, but I think a lot of people listening are going, way over my head. So
Yeah.
You have a photographer, right? And this photographer was doing something specific, which I know you can't do with Infusionsoft, right? So it was
Correct.
annoying and very time consuming for him to do it manually, right?
Right.
So
Right. So what he was having to do was somebody would book a photo shoot, and there was a certain automated sequence in Infusionsoft that would go out to that person. And then he would do the photo shoot, and he would go into PhotoShelter, and he would create the photo gallery, and he would upload the photos that he had taken there. And then he had to copy the information about that gallery back into Infusionsoft in order to send the email to the people and create the follow-up sequence that happens after they get the gallery that they want, so they can pick their photos, those kinds of things. So he was having to do this manual copy-paste process. And so what we did was basically automate his workflow just that little bit more for him so that he didn't have to do that copy-paste anymore. The gallery is automatically created. It's sitting there waiting for him. All he has to do is upload the photos, and then in Infusionsoft he sends off the email that tells them where those photos are. So Infusionsoft already knows where the photo is with that photo gallery in any way that he wants it to.
right, and so, because again, we don't do APIs, and as a matter of fact, I made a decision a while back not to get into the API space. It's just not our business model. But there are times when you want to automate something to make a business process efficient. And by the way, a lot of times it's better to do it manually while you're maturing your business process. And then at some point you're going, look, I've got, I don't know, 10 hours a week of administrative work because I don't have this automated, in which case then you know, spending the time and effort to do this and the money makes a lot of sense. And that's when Monica and her team come into play, right?
Right. That's a really great place for us to come into play. We can come into it earlier and help you develop the workflow, but it's much better if you already understand what your workflow is and you just need to automate those processes. And I think of, you know, I think of the API guys, what we do often is we push Infusionsoft beyond what it's designed for. It's really designed for marketing purposes, and we like to use it more for workflow purposes. So we extend it beyond the basic marketing pieces, and we use the API in order to make it do things that are more workflow oriented.
Right.
So we've also done,
but that helps him with his sales. I mean, clearly, but it's
right.
Again, it's the workflow part of it that isn't like,
right.
Let me send you out a lead magnet and let me have you sign up and let me auto drip you.
Right, right. But doing more of the kind of administrative back end of your business. We did one that is a big quoting process, essentially. It's somebody who runs condo maintenance, essentially, and so that it's a big workflow where either a condo owner or a person on a condo board can submit a work request. That work request then goes to a set of contractors who are the people who would do the work, who can then submit a quote. Those quotes can then be accepted or rejected by the person who requested the quote. Then the work person can schedule the work and communicate with the end user, the person who actually lives in the condo unit. And then once they've done the work, they submit something that says that they've done the work. It does a follow-up. It pays them. It does that entire workflow has been automated.
Right. And so you're using Infusionsoft, first of all, for the email communication for sure, right?
Correct.
And
yeah.
What are you using? What
and the
opportunities?
scheduling, we're using it for this. Yes. So that's all in opportunities. We make heavy use of opportunities in most of our workflows.
So you kind of hijacked it and made it something
right.
a little bit more than what
right.
Infusionsoft invented it for.
Right, exactly.
Nice.
Exactly.
So you're manipulating the stages, I'm assuming?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, see,
actually,
I'm excited about what you're doing. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. So we use stages a lot. We use opportunities a lot because they are the one place where you can have multiple entities associated with a contact.
The one dimension
right.
with the contact.
Right, exactly. So we use opportunity records to get around the 100 custom fields, essentially, because it gives you another 100 custom fields and you don't have to duplicate it. So if you have 2 or 3 whatevers, dogs, children, work requests, whatever they are, you want to put those in an opportunity record. And using the API, you can manipulate those much more easily than you can through the UI. So
nice.
Yeah.
I know
we do a lot of that.
The one thing that I find with these API type companies is that they become something else eventually. Because, as a matter of fact, we were talking about David Bullock, he was actually my first guest on this program. He was my API guy. And now that him and Micah Mitchell are off with Memberium, he'll do work every once in a while, but he's not nearly as available as he was before. So having a source for something like this, like the API guys, is probably valuable.
Yeah, well, we seem to keep in business. People keep calling us and asking us for work, so there's clearly work there. Another big piece of what we do is data integration. So people often have data coming in from 2 or 3 different sources that isn't necessarily a software like PhotoShelter is a software that has its own API, but they have some specialty database, an insurance database or a medical database or something that has data in it, and they want to use Infusionsoft for the automated marketing pieces. So they want certain information to come over. And so we do a lot of that, just kind of pulling data in, putting it in where we need to put it, either in the contact record or as opportunities, that kind of information flow. That's another big source of business. People, it's often stuff that you can do manually with an import, with an export and import, but exporting and importing is frankly quite tedious. And you might as well automate it and pay the upfront cost just to automate it and get it done with, and then it can happen automatically for you.
Right. So that would be, there's 2 times when that becomes useful. It's I'm about to launch the system and now I've got to migrate data from other sources, right? And so you guys
Right.
definitely help out there.
Right.
And then,
And that, I mean, that you would be talking about a one-time, kind of a one-time thing. And that's probably not worth doing custom programming for the most part. You can do custom import that way. But the ongoing, the things where people are changing leads for some reason, or they're getting leads dumped into a particular system and they want to pull those leads into Infusionsoft, they want that to happen on a regular basis, a daily, weekly, monthly basis. That's where, you know, we write a script that will do that for them.
sure, but there's sometimes when you have data that's just kind of like not set up right, and then you guys will help kind of homogenize that so it can be imported.
Yeah.
But then now I've got a database and I have another system that's, I don't know, updating quotes or, you know, changing specific information, and then you guys will keep them synchronized, right?
Right, right, exactly.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so that's heavy. And then do you guys mainly work with just WordPress, or you guys work with other platforms? I mean, do you guys synchronize like phone applications and stuff?
We can do pretty much anything. The bulk of our work actually is, well, it's not WordPress. The bulk of our work is actually these third-party systems that, you know, are always different. It's interesting because we rarely get the same request twice, because we're often getting these sort of obscure niche entities that somebody is using this and wants it to be integrated. We've also done integrations with things like Salesforce. Interestingly, somebody wanted to use Infusionsoft to do the initial lead pull-in, but they wanted to work the leads in Salesforce. so we set up a Salesforce integration. Triple Seat is another one that I think is used for restaurants often. Somebody wanted to use Infusionsoft to follow up with restaurant customers, those kinds of things. So it's often these sort of niche service organizations that are using some special software that they really like for that purpose. And so we're able to connect it to Infusionsoft so they can use Infusionsoft for the purpose that it's really designed for, which is the automated marketing, and they can use whatever the other piece is for what that's designed for, the point of sale, the whatever it is that they're using that for.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And because I know that, gosh, a while back there was, I was part of a mastermind that they were taking pictures of kids at, like, you know, the soccer parks and the baseball parks and the football. And there was one thing that was just very time consuming, similar to like what your photographer guy was talking about. And it's funny because when you looked at the relative project, it was this one little piece, but it's the difficult piece because you can't just pull out Infusionsoft and do it. Which is why, I mean, a lot of folks bring us in, and then it's our job to come up and say, okay, this little piece right here, it looks little, but it's a lot of work. And that's when we'll bring in someone like you guys to kind of make it look seamless.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, go ahead.
The world is kind of, you know, the world of software is kind of interesting now because there's so many good pieces of software, so many good apps that do one little thing, right? So they just do this one thing. And so the idea of putting them all together, you know, it kind of used to be that you would buy the single unit software that did everything. And now people have gotten really into this, you know, I have this app that does this, and I have this app that does this, and I have this other app that does this. And the APIs help us just integrate all of those pieces together. So for some people, Infusionsoft is the hub, and they're bolting on these other pieces and using them lightly. And for other people, Infusionsoft is one of the wings, and something else is really the hub. And Infusionsoft is the piece that they're using just to do the follow-up automated marketing piece. And, you know, we can make that work either way. It's a good way to extend Infusionsoft beyond what it's, you know, traditionally used for and designed for. And to frankly get better use out of your Infusionsoft. We can help you just get better use out of Infusionsoft. So, you know, a lot of people use Infusionsoft for a very limited piece of their work, just their email follow-ups, for instance. And if you automate your workflow inside of Infusionsoft as well, you suddenly are using it for a lot more.
Cool. Well, that's interesting. Well, so Monica, if someone needed to reach you, you know, because they said, hey, we need the API guys to help us out with something, how would they find you?
Yeah, so we're at theapiguys.com, and you can email me directly at monica@theapiguys.com.
And they'll
And
see
our
the little logo guy that you're wearing there on your shirt.
Yep, our little robot guy. We had a naming contest at the Icon, but we haven't quite gotten results from the naming contest. We need a few more names, I think, before we select a name for him. He might be called Flash. We don't know, or Sparky. We haven't really decided yet.
You have to worry about Flash. Apple stopped supporting that, so that's not good.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. We do have a product, just because we, have been doing this for a long time now, and we put together a little set of things. It's a little bit like PlusList or My Fusion, which is called Pocket Developer. That's also on our website. You can see the information about that. The main way it's different from the other guys is that it is pay by use. So you pay for the plugins. You pay a base subscription of $5 per app, and then you pay for which plugins you use. You don't have to pay for a basket of all the plugins. And it goes a little bit deeper than you can get into any table in Infusionsoft. So for instance, you can pull, somebody just asked me about this, you can pull an affiliate code and put it on a contact record if you wanted to do that, in order to send out an affiliate code, an affiliate link along to a contact. So.
Oh, well, that's just right. After we get off the call, I have a question for you, because now that I have a request from a client of mine who wanted something, and I go, okay, I've got to research that for him. So we're very good.
And honestly, if it's not on there, give us a call and talk to us about it. We love to churn ideas and see if there's things that we can do for people and make life easier. That's what we like to do.
Good. Well, hey, thank you so much for breaking time out of your busy schedule, and you got the two kids and involved in the church there, so that's great. Thank you, and we'll be publishing this soon.
Great, and thanks for your video blogs. They're great.
Okay, take care.